This time on Watchers of Tomorrow, Data gets grifted.
Hello, welcome to Watchers of Tomorrow, the sci-fi review and critique show that is probably made up of a small group of individuals all hanging out for possibly nefarious reasons, but you'll never know. My name is Gap, and I'm joined as always by my friend and co-host, Dr. Isix.
Hi.
And this week we have the return to the evil planet that one of the crew members was from, but we don't return because we only just sort of heard about it before.
Well, we did have a weird mental space warp future past experience thing where we were on the planet again, but it wasn't actually real. It was just reality being confused by thinking.
Yeah, because of that damn traveler from last time.
Yes. It's all coming back. Oh, no.
See what he does? Also, that centered around a cat. No cats in this episode.
Yes. There's maybe a very crass joke here about, protecting the cat and from... Anyway.
Well, you can't have it because, there aren't any, as good guy characters in this one, so...
True. So
you can only have the cat if you're a good, strong female character, like an alien.
All right. I'll endorse that.
So that's like a clue. That's a clue to what happens in the episode.
Yes, unfortunately, there are no cats on the planet anymore.
Because there's no good, strong female characters left.
Mm-hmm.
So this week we have the Star Trek The Next Generation episode, Legacy, not to be confused with the video game Star Trek Legacy or the possible TV series Star Trek Legacy or any of the other 100 things that come up when you search Star Trek Legacy.
Yes. This is specifically the Next Generation episode, Legacy period, nothing else. Come on.
Star Trek Legacy is a 2006 video game based on the Star Trek series, a real-time tactics space combat video game for Microsoft Windows and Xbox 360 by Mad Doc Software, published by Bethesda, which is probably why it sucked.
Well, if you're in space, can you really fall through the terrain anymore?
Good question. I never played this because I didn't have a Windows machine then. And I didn't even know they made a 360 version. I don't know how that would have played.
Possibly better than the Windows version, I'm going to guess.
I'm sorry, what were the reviews for this? Come to me, Metacritic. Ooh, 64 on Metacritic. Average user ranking of 5.4.
5.9 on IGN. From Hell's Heart, I stab at thee. Really?
Okay, mixed reviews.
It's maybe one of those things where people that enjoy the specific genre plus Star Trek really love it, but everyone else is like, meh.
Yeah, I see a bunch of mods for I forget which one. There was a mod for a Star Wars space combat game that added a bunch of this. And then, of course, there's Stellaris mods. Yeah.
You can have a Star Trek versus Star Wars in a video game, finally.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw somebody doing, Stellaris Star Trek versus Stellaris the Empire of Mankind and from Warhammer. They wouldn't get along.
Probably not. Very diametrically opposite sort of ways of thinking about kind of everything.
But this is not that. This is Legacy, the TNG episode, where Tasha's sister suddenly materializes.
Yeah. Did you not know that she had a sister? Yes, she's had her the whole time.
Yeah, the entire time. How dare you? She talked about her infrequently. Never, in fact.
Worf having, Kurn as a brother kind of makes sense because Worf, was, orphaned at a very young age and probably didn't remember the kid. So it's very much okay, this kind of can fit in and, you don't have to build up before it. And having Riker have a dad kind of makes sense too. In the Star Trek universe, people, aren't all born in test tubes and things like that. So, it's sort of this kind of makes sense. And I guess this is in the same territory as Worf's other brother.
Yeah, who you have no reason not to mention.
Yes.
If there's one thing that we all know from playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's no one ever wants to spend time talking about their tragic character backstory.
Sometimes it's fun to have looks like a tragic backstory to everyone else, but your character's actually like really cool with it. And they're like, well yeah, of course, my family was in a cult and murdered people. That was pretty awesome. I don't do that myself, probably. But
yeah, when you play the evil campaign, it's like,
yes.
my entire family and village was murdered and burned to the ground. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I didn't get them all. One escaped, and they haunt me to this day.
And someday I'll track them down and slice them open and other stuff, So, we got a sister.
I still haven't done the Dark Urge playthrough on Baldur's Gate 3. I need to get to that.
I need to play Baldur's Gate 3.
So we've got a sister, and we've got a writer, and some guest stars. No, this was written by Joe Menosky. This is his first Star Trek thing. He started writing on the CBS show Hunter in the 80s, and then became a Star Trek writer, and continued to be a Star Trek writer. He's a Star Trek writer.
Yes, he's even gotten an episode of Discovery, one of the ones in season 1.
Yeah, he became a staff writer for TNG with this season. He continued on. He's done DS9, he's done Voyager. He did some Discovery. He co-produced the first season of Orville. He's very involved.
Yes. And as far as the episodes he touches upon, some of them are pretty good, like the Scorpion. From Voyager.
Oh, I always liked Scorpion. Just an excuse to get Jerry Ryan on, but yeah.
Yes. Clues from TNG here. And I believe it was Time's Orphan on DS9.
I think so, yeah.
Remember that one?
More or less.
That's the one where Molly of O'Brien.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that one was...
Yeah. Oh.
I will fully admit, I have a lot, as many as people know I have criticisms of DS9. I have watched it multiple times, but it tends to blur together for me a little bit, if I'm honest.
This one, that particular episode is notable because it's a later season's episode that isn't all about the war going on.
It's just about torturing O'Brien more.
Yeah. So, yes. Poor O'Brien.
Menosky is also credited widely with starting the in-joke of inserting the number 47 into as many Star Trek episodes as possible.
Including this one. I think that's one of the things on the shuttle pod or whatever it was.
I found I think there's this escape pod thing. Yeah, I found it it's a coordinate. I found it when I was reading through the script of this. Though I was trying to look it up before. I had this written down. I looked up a list of all of the 47 references, and this episode wasn't on the list. So I wrote down, this episode doesn't include one, even though he's known for this. And then I was going through to write the synopsis, and then I found one. So I had, of course, go back and take it out. It's like, where is it on your stupid official list? Huh?
Yeah, the escape pod is held on level 3C, section 547. Yep.
This is apparently a reference to some kind of weird meme thing at the college that he went to that is strange, and you should look up if you want to look at some weird college lore. And apparently there's a fake mathematical proof that demonstrates that 47 is equal to all other integers.
I always love those kind of nonsense proofs. Like the one where you end up dividing by 0 in order to get 1 equals 2.
Yeah. Most of these things, if you actually go through the math, you wind up dividing by 0 at some point, which is a definite tell.
No, you need to take the limit, guys. Come on.
All right, we've got 2 guest stars. Well, we've got a lot of guest stars. We've got 2 people who talk.
Well, technically 3, but one of them just...
No, we've got 5 people who have a line.
Yeah.
Yes, the guy who walks by and says, "Excuse me."
Yes.
Very important for the deep lore.
Who are you? I can't speak anymore, sir. I'm an extra. I only got 1 line.
If I say anything else, they'll have to pay me more than scale. Yes. So, firstly, we have Don Moreau as Hane. And started acting in the 80s with a TV movie called Red Flag, The Ultimate Game. Something about
like Red
the
Dawn?
Air Force.
So, maybe.
He had guest star roles on things like Automan and Days of Our Lives. And after this, he'd continue with other guest appearances. He was in The Golden Girls and The Pretender, a lot of other stuff. His last credit, which I mentioned just because I had completely blocked this movie out of my memory, even though I saw it, was in Miss Congeniality 2, Armed and Fabulous.
Awesome. I did not know that existed.
She goes to Vegas. The only thing I remember is there's like a climactic thing where they get tied up in the boat outside of pirate whatever, the pirate casino, and part of the show that they do is that the boat sinks at the end, so they're like tied up in the boat while the show's going on and they have to escape before the boat sinks.
So, a timer and a countdown and let's do the thing.
It is terrible from what I recall, but it's that kind of special kind of terrible that still might be fun.
Like Saved by the Bell, the college years.
Yeah.
Something else he was a guest star in.
We also have Beth Toussaint. Why is everyone French? I cannot pronounce French names.
France, had a colonial empire too. So, like a third of everyone has to be French now.
Yeah. Also, the British royals and landowners were French for hundreds of years, so they also spread their stupid French names around.
Sorry, French folks, but Gepwin has a serious issue with you. I'm cool with you, though.
I actually just learned this. Did you know that that's why all of our legal terms in the U.S. are doubled up?
Yeah, because one is a French sort of version, and one is more of a common law English for those peasants over there sort of version.
Yeah, and then even after that was no longer a thing, we just kept doing it because it fit the pattern.
Mm-hmm. Cease and desist.
Yeah, you got to do both, even though they're the same thing in different languages.
So wait, does this mean that there's an English version of Beth?
Probably. I don't know what the English version of Toussaint would be as a name. Tony. Beth Tony.
Tony, there we go. Beth Tony.
Anyway, she's playing Tasha Yar, because no one on this planet gets to have a normal name. Before she started acting, she was a model, and then she appeared in several music videos back when those were a thing. She was in the 1987 movie Berserker and the movie Dead Heat. She later had acting roles in Dallas as a reoccurring character, and then after Star Trek, she continued with guest TV like Babylon 5, and in the year 2000, she appeared as woman's voice on phone in Scream 3.
Female caller. Yeah, and Babylon 5, she was Anna Sheridan, but Anna Sheridan's character was changed out at one point, so, didn't get to keep going on that. But, there's like Anna Sheridan, like in the archival footage / last phone call message, and then there's Anna Sheridan, the pod burst that comes back later, and then she's blown up. So
Okay, it said she was only in one episode, so they must have changed actors for the pod burst.
Yes.
That's how you can tell. Easy tell. They changed actors.
Change out actors.
We just all have to pretend so they don't catch on.
Exactly. I recognize you even though you look totally different.
Part of the pod person mind control or pheromones or some such.
We're in an altered reality state, and everything's kind of blurry and Dutch angly.
Yeah, as soon as the Dutch angle hits, not going well.
That would be an interesting, sort of meta go on an episode of TV. It's like, kind of wish there was a way to like get high without drugs, and then one of the side characters comes up and is like, what? They reach for the camera, tilt it slightly, and everything's like, whoa, man, what? They just walk off.
Nice. Okay. Anyhow, there's stuff that happens in this episode. I don't think there is a Dutch angle in this episode, so we can't even not sure because I don't write down if there's a Dutch angle usually.
Yeah, it is a little unusual
in TV.
Note that anyway.
Anyway, so
unless there's something really weird.
We open on the poker with Worf, Riker, Troy, and Data. Seems like Troy. They never really mention it that like Troy could cheat at this game real easy.
Yes, the only one that'd be able to like ignore her, empathic abilities would be Data and maybe Riker, just because he knows her so well.
Also, Geordi can just straight up see through the cards.
Yes, and Data, can count the cards pretty easily, and well, it's actually kind of relevant to this scene.
Card counting isn't as useful in like straight up poker as it is in some other things, but you still can. He knows all of the odds in his head all the time. Anyway, Data and Riker have both been winning a lot. They say that Data gets better at bluffing. Aha, he's starting to learn how humans work, and it might be relevant to the episode. But they've basically split up everybody's chits between them. So Riker decides that he's going to bet Data that he can have him pick a card, and then he can find that card in the deck with Data's help. So he's going to do a magic trick.
Pretty much.
So,
and it's pretty clear once things have proceeded that, what's kind of going on.
Yeah, it's a pretty simplistic one. overall. It's a very minor sleight of hand. So Data picks a card, Riker shuffles the deck, then he has Data cut the deck into halves, and he just chooses which one to discard until finally he has Data pick a card and goes, yeah, turn it over, and it's his card. Haha. But Data saw that Riker kept his thumb on the card and put it on top of the deck when he was shuffling. So he was then able to just follow where the card was at every step of the process and strategically have him discard whichever thing the card was not in until he wound up with just the card.
Yes. Process of elimination that is, very guided.
Which I do love. This is probably my favorite of the poker scenes in any of these. Because everybody else goes, oh my god, that's amazing, Riker won. And Data goes, oh no, it's because of this. And given that, I think I win, actually.
Yes. I'm just going to take all the chips now. And what these actually represent? Is this like holodeck hours, minutes? Yeah. And then Worf's over here. It's like, oh, man, I could have, a royal straight flush and I'd still lose. Oh.
So then there's a distress call, because these games can never end well. So Federation's freighter is in distress, hence the distress call, and has taken an emergency orbit around Turkana 4, where Tasha Yar was born.
Yes, also known as the worst planet in the galaxy, Mad Max planet, the planet of everyone wants to murder each other, etc., as well as, the unfortunately named home of the rape gangs.
Which we can say, because we're 20 minutes into the episode, so YouTube can't do shit about it.
Take that, algorithms.
We're on a podcast, and YouTube is not the main place we put that, so...
Yes.
I don't algorithm, which is why I'm not successful in life.
Oh, you have to learn all the tricks, you see.
Yeah, you gotta keep your thumb on the cards.
Yeah, we should do one of those things like the Spiffing Brit did, where we put up a 2-hour episode, but the second hour is just one of us humming, and then we cut that out a few days into the episode being up.
Forget how that.
And so we only have the main episode, and watch time percentage will go through the roof, and then we're good.
Yeah, and then YouTube has decided that it's great, and they'll keep recommending us.
Exactly.
We are poison to the algorithm because we number our episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. Because people see, episode 200 and whatever of this podcast. I'm not starting there, and I'm not listening to 200 episodes of this.
Even though we're talking about, sci-fi movies and Star Trek, and, you can kind of pick one out pretty easily and start there.
Yeah, I don't know. As far as I can tell, the only way to have a successful podcast is to not have a podcast and film yourself rambling about misogyny for 2 hours.
Yeah, unfortunately seems to be the thing that gets promoted the most. So we're just wasting all our time, including ours.
Watching Star Trek is really the proper way to demonstrate you're a high-value alpha male. Or sigma, or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be now.
Alpha, omega.
Yeah. No, I'm an omega male. I destroy all of the
the mega man male. The postage due mail.
Are you a prepaid mail? Because take our quiz.
or do you have a stamp situation you have to do here? Are you stamped? Is it
a forever stamp, or do you have to do that awkward thing where you put on 2 stamps, but that's too much because they didn't raise it by that much? And it's hard to get those 1-cent stamps that they used to make when they rose the prices.
Yeah, because it's like everything. It's a forever stamps for everyone. Why is people not buying this here now?
Anyway, the Enterprise is responding to a distress call. They get there just in time to see the freighter explode, because these were not alpha males who can fix their own damn freighter, you see.
Yeah, they're more competent than the people from that one planet who are like, dude, we got a ship and it's broken. But,
Yeah. They're not very smart. So they were able to launch an escape pod, and the escape pod lands in the colony, which is a problem because the colony is terrible. The government fell apart years ago, and the last Federation contact ship that came about 6 years ago was informed that anyone transporting to the colony would be killed on sight.
Yeah, so it's really bad luck that they decide to send their escape pod right to the only place on the planet where you'll get shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. This is they kind of imply this is the only city on the entire planet.
Yes.
So you basically hit a comparatively postage stamp sized piece of land here.
Mm-hmm. A 1-cent stamp, in fact.
Yeah. Not a forever stamp, even.
Yeah, it's definitely not a forever colony.
So, of course, this isn't going to stop them from mounting a rescue, because they're here already. So, Riker, Data, Worf, and Dr. Crusher beam down. Worf has a big thing about how it's dangerous for Crusher, and Crusher goes, "Shut up."
Yeah. Crusher's like, I outrank you, first off. And second, I'm going to go kick, butt too. I got my own phaser today. Ah.
They let her onto the Borg ship. This,
Yeah.
which this is, by the way.
Yeah, so they just reset the set. Made it a little bit less,
less green.
Glowy types. Yeah, less green and much more random bits of things just kind of hanging around and scraps of cloth hanging from the ceiling.
So Borg green colony, more brightly lit with scraps.
Yes, and boxes.
So they beam down to a completely abandoned city. Everyone lives underground. The escape pod was also taken underground. So they go down there and encounter a small group of people who seem almost friendly from all the stuff they've been told.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're just kind of doing our day stuff here. You are people, and yeah.
One of them even says, "Excuse me," when they walk by.
Yeah, it's like there's just kind of this weird, anarchistic situation going on here where everyone's just making do.
Then they're confronted by a group of armed men who also are not as concerned as you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
Then their chests start flashing and they run away, and the crew follows them for some reason.
Like, well, these people have guns, they might be important, and also they got glowing chests, so they obviously know E.T.
Well, you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, so I can't make the other glowing chest joke.
I'll cover my ears if you need.
It's not a spoiler. You just don't know the characters. One of your companions has a glowy chest because she has a demon engine in her heart.
Neat.
It's not a spoiler. You find out pretty fast.
Yeah. Oh, also Satan lives inside my chest right here.
And she is basically a demon. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Haven't you played Baldur's Gate 3 yet? Like, it's been out.
I don't know.
And there's characters from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 in it.
I also need to finish Baldur's Gate 2.
No one ever finished Baldur's Gate 2. I don't believe anyone ever finished Baldur's Gate 2.
Well, obviously I need to so I can port my character, right?
Yeah, you can definitely import your character. Just like how they promised you could import your character to Neverwinter Nights. This is old. Who still, raise show of hands, who's still disappointed you couldn't import your Baldur's Gate 2 character into Neverwinter Nights like they promised?
These are all computer games, and they involve D&D characters. Should be pretty easy, right?
This is the promise of the blockchain. What if your D&D character was on the blockchain?
Then you could just have them in everything, and then they get to party with those awfully drawn apes and things like that, right?
What if you could import your D&D character from Baldur's Gate 3 into Mass Effect? Think about it. That would be good for some reason.
Despite the genre shift and, not fitting at all.
So anyway, they go to the headquarters of the people they were following, and they meet the Coalition, who is headed by Hain. They are in a standoff with the Alliance, who's the other cadre, they call them here, to get away from the word they actually want to use.
Well, I guess there's several different ways they could sort of try to sidestep stuff there, but some of them would just end up being awful too. So
yeah, but this is a thing made in the 90s about cities whose government collapsed and groups of organized young people running around with weapons.
Mm-hmm. That are mostly targeting each other, but are effectively being the law on the street.
So there's a word from the 90s that we still stick around today that they might have been meaning this to be an allegory for, but they use cadre so that they aren't beating you over the head with it.
Yeah, because otherwise they'd have to mention, they'd have to describe these as Cub Scouts.
Yep.
Yeah, totally, yes.
So anyway, the cadre run half the city, and the Alliance run the other half of the city. The Alliance are the ones who took the escape pod, and they apparently are worse because they're going to ask for a ransom and possibly torture the survivors to death for funsies.
And the Coalition would never do that, right?
Hain wants to help. He wants weapons from them in exchange for help because they don't have quite as many weapons as the other guy. And he just wants to keep the peace. He just wants everything to be nice and even and peaceful with gun.
Yeah, it's like a private little war all over again.
This is his whole catchphrase. I'm just trying to keep the peace. Also, they can't do any serious damage to each other because they all have proximity detectors that go off whenever a rival is nearby. So mostly they just do little pranks like steal beer off of each other.
Yeah, and here, have some.
Yeah. They stole some synthale, which is now a gift for your captain. Here you go.
Like, we don't have synthale on the Enterprise. Come on, guys.
So the crew's all surprised because they heard a horrifyingly different version of this planet from their crew member who was born here. And he goes, that was like days ago.
No, we're not going around and, like, violating people anymore.
Yeah, things are different now. It's all fine and great and peaceful. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're effectively the law nowadays, and we're keeping the peace. And yeah, we're totally, not that, and we don't have incorporated people from that side of things, right?
So the crew head back to discuss this with the captain, and Riker describes the situation, which Picard characterizes as the behavior of urban street thugs.
Yeah, there we are. There it is, a big circle. Yeah.
But if they're under the city, aren't they suburban street thugs?
Yep.
Suburbs are the real danger, kids.
You see, they're quite underground. They were, going around shooting people before it was cool.
Yeah.
In the suburbs.
So Hayne is their only safe contact with the colony, so even if this seems fishy, they can't really afford not to work with him. Mm-hmm. But then, conveniently, Hayne contacts them. He's there with a woman, who they introduce as Tasha Yar, Tasha's previously unknown sister.
Oh, hello, new family member of a random crew member. Are you going to be incorporated into the living lore of our series, or are you a one-off character
Probably
this
a
time?
one-off. I also think it's interesting that I'm not saying that they needed to go out of their way to try to find someone with perfect resemblance, etc. But the most that they tried to do is make sure that they were just both blonde. That's how you can tell they're sisters.
Yes, blonde hair, different build is fine. Different facial structure is fine. Blonde and I guess kind of poofy hair.
Mm-hmm. Blonde, poofy hair, because everyone knows poofy hair is genetic.
Yes.
Hayne's not willing to work with them for no reason. It's fine. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, after all, and I can't risk the other guys getting a ransom that would strengthen their position, so here you go.
Yeah, I'm throwing you a
Take
bone.
Ashara to be a liaison. She knows Alliance territory, and it's fine.
And there's nothing suspicious at all. Good luck.
To their credit, no one trusts this at all.
Yeah.
This might not even be Tasha's sister. Troy says Hayne is definitely lying about something. She's just not sure what. But then again, no real choice here.
Also, does it really matter if this is Tasha's sister at all?
I mean, it shouldn't.
Really?
No.
Yeah. It's like, you be suspicious of these folks, including the liaison. That should be like the pretty obvious thing here.
So, Data greets Ashara at the transporter. They have to spend the most time together in this episode since he and Tasha had a special relationship.
Mm-hmm. So we got to have a special relationship that is vicariously like that one somehow.
She's surprised to see that an android's on board. She gets over it quickly, though. They have a whole thing about, you're a combat android. And he goes, why would you think that? We're peaceful up here. And she's, what is this peaceful thing all about then? Data takes her to the observation lounge. They have a little walk and talk where he's like, Tasha never mentioned you. And I had multiple conversations with her.
We spoke on at least 4 occasions.
And then he stops and is like, you remind me of her in your head tiltiness, I guess.
Yes, just look that way slightly. Okay, I see it now. Okay, I'm having flashbacks. Help me. Someone, help me.
So we meet the crew. She immediately offers to have her DNA tested because she knows that they wouldn't trust her. And she fills them in on what's going on at the colony. So since they think it should all be chaos and weirdness, so she has to tell them what's really happened. About 30 years ago, the government started to collapse for unknown and unspecified reasons, and there were dozens of factions fighting until the city was in complete ruins. The Coalition and the Alliance are the only ones left because they were the strongest, and the government gave them police powers at some point, and gave them the implant proximity detectors in order to keep them in line, but then we didn't need no government anymore.
So they got these implants, and then the government just kind of
Collapsed
stopped
anyway.
existing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, wow, these people that are running around and being basically fighting factions against other factions, and enjoying might makes right sort of power over the city here. We are attempting to co-opt that power, and then they just ignored us.
Yeah.
This should have been something we could have seen coming.
So Shara joins the coalition, and Tasha leaves the colony, and now here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Just then, coincidentally, I guess, they get a ransom demand from the Alliance. The freighter crew are still alive, and they have 20 hours to pay an unspecified amount to an unspecified place at an unspecified time, or they will be killed.
Not Tanzu.
Yeah, this is such a non-specific ransom demand.
Yes. But, just to let us know that there's this thing going on.
But there is a ticking clock that we will ignore mostly.
Yeah,
so remember,
gotta do the
this
things.
entire plot takes place in under 20 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashara says they need to take it seriously because, she knows the Alliance and they're going to kill people. Geordi thinks that if you could just get to the escape pod, they could use the built-in scanners to track down the crew and find them. But they also have no idea where it is, except Ashara knows it's in section 547. There it is. There's the thing.
Yeah, 47.
So they go over the maps, and Ashara yells at them a lot. She thinks they're all stupid and wasting time. The plan that she has is to be beamed into the middle of Alliance territory to set off the alarms and draw all the guards away so that they can get to the escape pod and get to the scanner. And apparently Riker likes being yelled at by aggressive women so much that he just goes, sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, this totally makes sense, and, we're not going to use any of our advanced technology to, basically do that without putting your life in jeopardy.
The thing that gets to me with this, and we'll get to it in a second. So they beam down, and Ashara is completely alone for some reason. Even with this plan, where she needs to beam down to set off the proximity thingy and draw the guards away, there is absolutely no reason in the world you would ever send them down by themselves.
Yes.
She should be in at least a team of 2 people, if not more.
You got yellow shirts. You can put them there, too, They don't even have to have names,
Yeah, so send one damn person down to guard her.
Troy, you're not doing anything else this episode at this point, so you could join her.
Yeah, she's got to have some kind of combat training, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, the plan works. She draws the Alliance guards away from the escape pod. But then Shorty goes, this is going to take longer than I thought. And then Ashara moves under a power generator, apparently, so O'Brien can't beam her out. And Riker runs off to rescue her while Geordi takes care of the something or other that's gone wrong with the escape pod.
Well, if only you had given her a proper comm badge.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But this all works out well because Ashara gets shot and then Riker arrives just in time to save her and they're able to beam away.
And so just like previously with Tasha being carried back onto the ship, in someone's arms, Riker gets to do that, and, she's alive this time, though.
This time she's got a couple of cracked ribs. Geordi has the location of the hostages, and Riker gets told that he got too emotionally involved and took unnecessary risks, but also, you did good. So,
and keep enjoying being yelled at by strong women here, but, be more careful. On.
I know that they do the whole, Ishara Data thing in this episode, but she definitely seems like Riker's type.
Yes. So I'm thinking threesome.
I mean, logically, being a sexually active asexual, Data has to be some version of M-Spec, right?
I suppose. So let's have him have some fun.
So Picard goes to thank Ishara personally for all the stuff she did, and she goes, yeah, of course I did it. I'm not a coward like my stupid, dumb sister. Then Picard gives a big speech about how amazing Tasha was, and everyone should be proud of themselves because we're slowly bringing her over to our side and way of thinking.
Yeah, maybe we can recruit this person and send them off to the academy, never to be seen again.
Now that she's getting trusted more and is part of the crew and everything, Ishara no longer gets to wear her cool flight jacket thing, and they give her a skin-tight catsuit.
Yeah, so,
It's
you can,
Starfleet regulation or something, I guess. Everyone has to wear skin-tight catsuits.
They are form-fitting and, I suppose, in-universe comfortable.
And that's what they keep saying.
Yeah.
These things have got to have like a still suit, like based thing in there, because there's no way you could get this off to pee.
It's like, okay, we're going to make use of a public restroom. We'll have to get naked now in order to use the toilet.
Yeah. I mean, this was like some of the horror stories that Jerry Ryan had from working on Voyager. Like, she couldn't take bathroom breaks because the bathroom breaks would take an extra 20 minutes out of the day to get in and out of the damn costume.
Yeah. It's like, well, I guess I'll just not drink as much water, and that's not going to be dangerous to my health,
She passed
right?
out at least twice. So,
yeah,
definitely fine. Hopefully these, like, I don't know. By the time the future gets here, I guess we can wear any sexy fashion we want because we'll have figured this out. But right now,
I'm reminded of real quick of the fashion choices in a book called The Golden Globe, where they're like, all right, so everyone's in the future here has decided to go this weird neo-Victorian thing. But we live in the future. We're on the moon. We can kind of wear whatever we like just a sleeve. And nothing else.
Yeah, there was definitely a trend in it started in the 80s and went all the way into the early 2000s where there was a definite trend in like future fashion will just be closer and closer and closer to full nudity.
Yes.
Eventually it'll just be see-through clothes. Yeah.
Folks want to go that route by all means, but it's a sort of that's maybe not going to be where everyone wants to go, so I guess be accepting, but don't require it.
Well, it's fashion. Fashion is never required. Yeah. You'll just get made fun of if you're not naked. God.
But I like being made fun. I mean, what?
So, they have everybody recovered. Ashara has a talk with Data about how he can have friends because he gets used to people. They did some good Data characterization in this episode. This is a way better this is the way he has emotions episode than any of the how does Data have emotions episodes.
In fact, this might be like one of the prime examples of, Data has emotions. They're just not like
your emotions.
As human emotions. Mm-hmm. They are, his own sort of subtle
They're android
ones.
Emotions. For androids, TM.
Androids, everybody come and have some androids.
So Geordi comes up with a plan to get to where they're holding the hostages. They can convert the ship's phasers into a drill so that they can drill down through all of the rock that's on top of where the hostages are, and then they can beam down through the hole.
Well, that's kind of nice. We're going to have to remember that we can drill into planets like this in the future.
Yeah, maybe this should be like a toggle switch instead of this thing that's going to take 2 hours to set up.
Yeah.
And Shara says that it's too dangerous because the map is incomplete, and if only she could go down with them, she could guide them around because she knows this area, but she has this pesky implant. Data goes, we could just remove the pesky implant. Sure, it might explode, but we can do technobabble at it.
Yeah, we'll put it into a non-reactive gas, and that's fine.
Yeah, which I see what they're saying. I'm not trying to bash their technobabble. That they say that the thing is designed to explode the minute it hits air. And they go, well, we could just surround it in xenon or another non-reactive gas. But the air is, mostly non-reactive gases. So how do you know which thing it's supposed to be set off by?
Could be set off by nitrogen.
So,
could be set off by trace amounts of xenon in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I feel like you're taking a little bit of a gamble here.
So ideally, they would just be like, well, we can figure out a non-reactive gas that would be compatible as opposed to specifically this one. So anyway,
Riker recognizes that Ashara is going to make a massive life-changing decision and possibly life-risking one as well. So, take time to make this super life-changing decision. We've got 2 hours before we need to go.
Yes. So good luck.
Yeah.
Come back in 20 minutes, please.
She has a chat with Data about how her parents got killed when they were kids, and Tasha took care of her, and then she joined the cartel. But Tasha blamed the cartels for their parents' death because they probably killed their parents. And Ashara also thought that Tasha was weak for leaving, but maybe she was the strong one all along because it's nice here, and maybe I could stay.
Yeah, I could totally get in to vibing with this whole, not running around and trying to shoot people constantly.
Yeah, everyone's not trying to stab each other in the back here. It's nice.
Yeah.
And then we just cut to Data excitedly telling Picard that not only does Ashara want to have the implant removed, but she's thinking about staying, and eventually joining Starfleet, etc. So Data's made a new girlfriend, and she's gonna be here, and totally doesn't live in Canada.
Yeah.
She's totally real, guys.
Yeah, Picard should probably be like, well, let's do one thing at a time here, and don't get your expectations too high, Data. You know, this is a life and death situation, and, well, she is insisting on going into this life and death situation, so she might die by the end of this, so, you know.
And Troy goes, this is super suspicious. She's super divided in her loyalties. I don't completely trust that she's going to give up her entire life and family just like that. And this seems sus as hell.
Yeah. And, you know, you don't even have to be an empath to sort of realize this.
Remember this for, 10 minutes from now.
Yep.
Data informs the Shara that Picard is on board with the whole plan. She keeps talking about how nice it's going to be. It's weird that everybody here trusts each other. It's so weird. Like, I don't feel like I have to stab you in the back. Excuse me, I need to go prepare for surgery, and I want to tell Hayne that I'm leaving because I owe him that much. And then she goes and stabs everyone in the back. Yep.
It's like, yeah, it's working. And why did you let her make a communications without monitoring?
Because they all trust each other. It's just everyone trusts everyone. This is one of those things where the whole like future ideals of we trust everyone implicitly and value everyone's privacy and input, etc., just like completely falls apart the minute you're in this like quasi-military, we need to keep a starship functioning environment.
Yes. It's like, yeah, have some basic operational security, or situational awareness, at least, please.
So Crusher gets the tracker out comparatively easily. Shar gives it to Data to remember me by. But you're not leaving. Yeah, don't worry about it. Shush.
It's like, this should have been a tell, but, you know.
Mm-hmm. Now they're all ready to go. Geordi gets those phasers drilling. They beam down to the tunnels. Ashara leads them to a very lightly guarded door because they don't think anyone can make it this far in anyone's territory, so they don't really have guards in the middle. They stun the guard, shoot down the door with the phasers. Seemed unnecessary. Yes. Yeah.
Like, could we have tried opening it maybe
No,
first?
It's definitely locked. No. They find the hostages and start to shoot off their handcuffs, which apparently takes a while. And while they're distracted, Shara runs off, takes out some more guards, and Data and Riker split up to go find her. Even at this point, they're like, oh my god, she ran away. Yeah, she was probably trying to distract them.
Yes. Yeah, let's, interpret this a particular way so that we get surprised.
So Shara takes out some more guards in a room with a big, fancy, glowy thing. And she enters a command on the panel, and it starts making overload noises.
No, this isn't good, right?
Probably not. Data arrives, notices that she is trying to disable the Alliance defensive systems, and goes, why? It's like, well, silly Data, it's because I'm betraying you.
Yeah, my loyalties haven't actually changed, even though I maybe was tempted earlier. But, the whole reason I decided to go involve myself with this is I want to help out the people that have been, my, allies and effectively found family here for years on end now, instead of, jumping in bed with the folks that might be super nice, but I have only known for like 2 days.
Yeah, this was the entire plan. You get the implant out, sneak in, take out the defenses, the coalition can invade because the defenses are down, and then we'll just keep the peace by being the only ones left alive.
Yep, and everything will be great, and we will never exploit the people of this planet as a result.
Mm-hmm. He keeps going, I don't want you to die, Data, but I'll kill you if I have to, so just leave. The thing's going to explode and kill them both, and she's like, well, I'm willing to sacrifice myself, but you don't need to, you can just go.
Yeah, so I guess she needs to be there to make sure it actually blows up, I guess.
I suppose. But, seems like a dumb plan. Especially if you can run away so easily. Like, Data, step out of the room so you don't die. I'm going to stand right here.
Yeah. Now, there is maybe a smarter way to have played all of this, Shara, but okay, this is how we're going to go about it.
So Data needs to stop her. He dodges the phaser, which, Data should be able to handle this situation easily. He's got superhuman speed and strength.
Yes. It's like, yeah, I know exactly where she's pointing this thing, so the moment I start seeing her finger push the button, I can move out of the way.
Riker distracts her, so Data can stun her and then turn off the panel thingy. And Riker finds that Ashara's phaser was set to kill.
Oh, well, it probably makes sense. All right. Yeah. Not a surprise, actually.
A little unclear whether that would actually kill Data or not, but still bad.
Maybe vaporize would be a problem.
Yeah, vaporize would be a problem. Max setting would definitely be a problem. So, Shara's back on the ship now. She's back in her cool jacket. She doesn't get to wear the catsuit anymore.
You've been reverted.
It's got a matching phaser belt, too.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Maybe that's the real draw of the catsuits in the future.
That they have matching phaser belts?
Yeah.
You made the belt first and went, you know what? This would go really well with the catsuit.
Yeah, there we go.
Haina's demanding her back because, what was the problem? You got what you wanted, so it's all good, right? I was just trying to keep the peace.
Well, she did try to murder one of our officers, and, well, we might want to, I don't know, charge her with something maybe, because, we don't have any sort of formal, treaties and things like that, and given that there's no official government here anymore, we don't really have any obligation to, pay attention to whatever you demand.
Yeah, also, something that they don't bring up at all. The whole reason Data says he needs to stop her from blowing up the thingy is because the Federation were involved. So it's their responsibility to not upset the status quo, Prime Directive, etc. But now, if they let her go back, she no longer has the proximity detector.
Yep.
So they have a secret weapon that they can just
you can send someone in.
So, they still upset the balance of power if they let her return to the planet. And I understand that it would be immoral to reimplant an explosive into someone. So I see why that's not the option, but it does kind of suggest that you shouldn't be letting her go back to the planet.
Yes.
Anyway, Picard lets her go back to the planet. Everyone's
get off my ship.
Everyone's surprised, and he goes, maybe it's our own fault, because we all were too trusting, because we expected to see some of her sister in her, and we all just saw what we wanted. And during this whole scene, they have a very deliberate feeling shot of Troy giving everyone the side eye, because 10 minutes ago she went, I don't trust this woman.
So sometimes it's very important to pay attention to what Troy's saying, and, don't just dismiss her because, in a lot of episodes she's poorly written. Come on, guys.
I love it because, they don't have her say anything, but they linger on her face for yeah, sure, everyone trusted her. Everyone.
I missed it, but when Shara was being brought onto the bridge at the beginning of this section here, Worf is escorting her and does the stand there sort of finger. I love that.
Yeah, it's like, go over here. The principal wants to talk to you.
Yes. Yeah, Picard wants to talk to you. Stand right there and nowhere else.
Your blocking is here. Shara tries to apologize to Data for manipulating him, but he can't take emotional damage.
Yeah, he's immune to it, so, what's the point?
Yeah. Later on, after everything's done, Data visits Riker to have a talk about trust. Riker says that, all trust is the possibility of betrayal, and maybe you and I weren't so prepared for that, because nobody ever really is. Data goes, I see. So it's better to never trust anyone at all. Good. Glad we settled that.
Sounds like a terrible lesson, Data.
Yeah, Riker, no. But without trust, we can't have relationships and friendship, etc.
And these are, kind of good things to have, Data. Don't turn into a psycho robot here, please.
Data's glad that he doesn't have emotions to hurt, so he doesn't have to worry about all this, and he leaves and longingly stares at Aisha's proximity chip.
Maybe he's really in love with the chip.
Yeah. I mean, they are both computers.
Yeah, and it's like, now that Shara has betrayed us and shown her true colors, I can only really trust you, proximity detector.
I think it probably would have added, budget or something. I would have ended this episode with him putting the chip in his little keepsake box next to Tasha's portrait there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just didn't have the time for the extra shot.
I suppose. But, there's, I guess, in terms of things going on, it is on the tighter end, has good character development for Data and stuff going on. And sure, the planet makes no sense, but, there's, I guess, enough going on that you don't necessarily have time to think about it until after the episode.
So, did you pick up on that this episode is supposed to be an allegory for gangs?
Surprise!
Yeah, it's about gangs, everyone. Urban thuggery. You might not have noticed because of how white everybody was.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple non-white people hanging
the
around.
ones who have some
points,
guns,
but,
who are holding guns in the background.
Yeah, but they're not given lines, so,
Well, the one gets one line when they run up and go, "Who are you?" And they go, "We're from the Federation." They go, "Ah, okay."
Okay. You're not really a threat because, you Federation guys tend to be,
Yeah.
chill until
You're
you're
all
not,
soft.
not for some reason. Yeah.
Anyway, this is about gangs. But it's not actually about gangs. It's about the massive fucking moral panic that we stirred up about gangs in the 80s and 90s, and that's still being used as an excuse for authoritarianism today.
Yep. Because, if you view, certain parts of the world as, completely unsafe and full of people that are only there to murder you, then you're going to be afraid, and you're going to be willing to give terrible people power to try to change that situation. And yeah, that means you've given terrible people power that they're going to abuse.
So, let's remember that this is like the 80s, 90s era is when you get all of the amazing things like Predator 2, where LA is a gang-run urban hellscape that the Predator is hunting in because it's the most dangerous jungle on Earth.
Yep.
And Escape from LA, where in the early 2010s, LA was turned into a prison district because of all the gangs. They just walled it off, and there's just gangs there now.
And of course, there's the alternative universe outcome of Demolition Man, where it was a hellscape in the 90s, but, a few decades later, it's a paradise.
Yeah, it was all gangs, and then Taco Bell took over.
And everyone bad got frozen.
Yeah. And those Taco Bell guys really know how to run a country, I'll tell you.
Yes. The Taco Bell Imperium has taken over. The real outcome of the fast food wars.
So, this is all very moral panic gang violence.
That you have to, you only have this stereotype of, being sort of sold about what's going on. Real world events like the LA riots and before that the Watts riots and things like that, there's a very real cause for this sort of thing here. But when it gets onto national news, it's like, look at all these people being, completely unreasonable and lawless and tearing through the city, and everything's now on fire, and they're just destroying this entire place here, and it's not safe for anyone who's not part of these gangs and things like that, right?
Okay, so you gotta remember that a lot of this stuff comes out of moral panics that were happening even earlier, like in the 70s, when you had suburban white flight out of the cities, and they decided to just not give New York money at all. They cut off New York from federal funds. The whole to city drop dead. Forget the president then. But yeah.
So there's Nixon and then Ford, early 70s, and then Carter, and then Reagan in the, after that.
Let's see. I can look up this headline. Come on, where's the headline?
Ford.
Yeah. Ford to city, drop dead.
Yeah, so Ford was less of an awful person than Nixon, sort of, but, still not
in
great.
1975, which, interestingly, there's a really good documentary that I saw a little while ago called Drop Dead City that's about this. It was mostly because New York was doing socialism more than the federal government wanted them to be doing socialism, and so they decided to just cut off financial aid to the city entirely and cause the New York financial crisis completely artificially in the 70s.
Yeah, it's similar to when various Latin American countries decided, being exploited by other countries like the United States sucks. We're going to nationalize it like anything. It's like, oh, now we're going to get punished by these other countries. It's like that, but internal to the United States.
Yeah. And people will tell you it's because they were selling bonds, too many government bonds on the promise of future government profits that were never going to materialize. But that's how the government always makes money. The federal government does that too. So
it's like, how do we finance, debt in this
So,
country?
yes, there were a bunch of bonds. It was a crisis of bonds not being able to be paid off, and they needed to get a loan from the federal government to be able to pay off the bonds because the banks decided to not take the bonds anymore, because the banks are being dicks about it, basically. The thing you need to remember in all of this is money is made up and the points don't matter.
Yes.
But the upshot of this is the government cut off a bunch of money to New York. New York then couldn't afford to upkeep its infrastructure. There was also a bunch of really weird, bad mismanagement. We put like a proto-tech bro in charge of the fire department, who decided that fire department response times were the most important metric, not like, putting out fires. That they also calculated the response times wrong. They decided that like the end of the response time was when they got there, not when the fire was actually out. So they gave them like 2 minutes to get anywhere in the damn city, which affected their funding and is one of the reasons that Brooklyn was, on fire for most of that. So this was not a like the gangs destroyed the city problem. This was we decided to stop funding urban infrastructure. And then we're blaming people for it. Yes, there were gangs in the city at these times. They were loose associations of teenagers who all got together for like safety and support reasons. It wasn't frickin' organized warfare. It never was organized warfare. Yeah. This is a complete and utter fabrication that people made up to scare you in the 90s and to justify authoritarian police actions.
So, is anything, I guess, improved on that front? Because, there's currently a certain president of the United States who is rather upset by a recent election in New York City there. And,
no, it's gotten worse because now they've defined gangs as like any three people hanging out. There was a really good Last Week Tonight about this a couple of months ago where they go into a lot more. But it's like having a tattoo makes you a gang member. Being Hispanic makes you a gang member because, they're all drug traffickers, etc. So it's just gotten worse. It's shifted mildly. I'm not going to say that we aren't still focusing almost 100% on black people, because we definitely are, but we've decided now that we're going to focus way more for the minute on like the threat of South American Latinx gangs. So that's most of the stuff we're saying now is the evil drug cartels are coming in and taking over and putting evil Spanish gangs into places.
Yeah, the MS-13 is everywhere.
Earlier it was stuff like let's demonize the Black Panthers,
and so it's the song is the same and getting louder. It's just more inclusive on who's being assigned as the dangerous group.
Yeah,
now.
Because the guy who sang "Fuck the Police" is now playing a cop on TV.
Dang you! Come on. Have Finn have a big change of heart, and he'll leave the show after it's like, fuck this stuff. I'm tired of carrying water for all you guys, and it's been great, kicking the butt of sexual predators and stuff, but there's too much of kind of being terrible to minorities going on here, so I'm out. That'd be a great way to end the show too.
My favorite thing from all of these things in this era, which they repeat here, is this weird little thing that they do where they go, well, the gangs were taking over. The government can't handle it. The government is inept because, this is after the Reagan era when, the government is the problem.
Yeah.
So the government's inept and, of course, can't do anything. Unless it's the police, I guess, which you're supposed to think of as separate from the government, but never mind. Because the government can't handle things, they give police power to the gangs, which somehow people think is a good idea.
And, so you got an armed force that has no reason to pay attention to the civil law here, and just terrible things result here, which is kind of what actually happened with how police are kind of given a blank check to do whatever they like.
I think that's the thing, right? If you're creating this narrative of the gangs are going to become such a problem that we'll be forced to give them police powers and they can do whatever they want. So the only real solution is to make the police a gang that can do whatever it wants.
Yep.
Before the gangs become the police, we have to make the police a gang.
It's baffling, but it does remind me of that one Subnormality comic where there's a time travel summoning device that pulls Thatcher into the present, and she's talking about the only way to combat a dangerous government power is absurdly dangerous government power.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's the Dune mindset, right? Which one was that? You had children, and then you had God Emperor, the God Emperor of Dune. Yeah, where Leto decides that he needs to become the worst dictatorial, murderous, genocidal tyrant that the world has ever seen, so that everyone will learn that emperors are a bad idea.
Please learn this lesson. We don't want to have to do this again. Now I'm going to murder everyone, as opposed to, try to set up a system that will actually, be good and discourage emperorship just by the structure.
Yeah, Dune gets real unhinged real fast.
Yeah. And then everyone misinterpreted what the author was trying to do, but, there could have been better ways to do it.
Well, they misinterpreted what he was trying to do in the first book, so he wrote the second book, and then everyone hated it because he explained what the first book was about, and they didn't like it.
Whoops.
Yeah. Which I'm kind of interested. I freaking hate those modern adaptations as adaptations, but I am mildly curious how they're going to handle doing the second and third books together. Because, one, they're very, very different stories, but also the way that they adapted the first book in the most recent movies is so counter to the intended interpretation of the first book that the second book is unmakeable.
Oh no, we've written ourselves into a corner.
Yeah.
We just pretend we didn't?
Probably. Anyway, that's most of the stuff. This is obviously the gangs will take over, destroy the government, destroy the city, destroy themselves. The gangs are dangerous and don't care about you like other people do, but you're too stupid to see that because you joined a gang.
This does kind of beg a question in the fiction of this episode here, that if what they need is someone who doesn't have a transponder detector proximity thingamajig on them, why don't they just, find some people that aren't part of their cadre and we're gonna, give you, a bunch of stuff if you go do this for us?
Yeah, there's a particular issue here where they're going everything's at, a stalemate, because we have more or less equal power and we have the proximity things. But the proximity things were an enforcement by the government, which no longer exists. And yeah, they're saying it's only been about 15 years since, the government did this. But that's enough time to get some teenagers.
Yes.
You would think you would have unchipped people by now.
Yes. And you'd have the unchipped people doing, the actual raids and things like that. And, well, it just would come down to a recruiting effort at that point.
Yeah, but if you're born into the, cadre or wherever, you're done. Also, I mean, you can see that this isn't as much of a oh my god, the gangs episode as the other one where they had the child soldiers. They're similar things. They just wanted to avoid child soldiers, so everyone's, a 20-something in this one instead of the teenagers that everybody was talking about in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton more to say with this, so I thought it would be interesting to see how much anti-gang propaganda we remember from the 90s.
Oh, bits and pieces. Definitely some, might be tempted to join this, these guys here, but they don't care about you sort of commercials.
There was they don't really care. I, as an undercover cop, have watched them leave one of their supposed members bleeding out on the street while they all run away like the cowards they are. Did you hear my absolute favorite, which got spread around so much, is the teacher's story about the poor, innocent girl who got gunned down on the street because these gang members drove by and thought she was flashing gang signs, and they shot her right there, probably outside of a school. And they didn't realize, because they're stupid gang members, they didn't realize that the girl was just deaf and was using sign language.
I get a feeling that never
Probably.
happened. Yeah.
I've heard that at least 3 times growing up.
Yeah, it became to a point where, people in the school that I was attending, in suburban Iowa, not exactly, center of, the moral panic, danger zone here. That, oh yeah, if you, start flashing gang signs, someone's going to show up and kill you.
Yeah.
Huh? Like just magically?
I was talking about this stuff, and my partner had this story. They went to a school that required uniforms, so they're in school colors uniforms. And one of the teachers was saying, "I'm so worried. You have to be so careful because gangs might see you outside and see you're wearing a bright color, and they'll go, 'That's a gang color,' and then they'll just shoot you." And they're like, "So you're telling me that you're forcing us to wear this thing that you believe is unsafe to be outside in?"
And of course, there's the exact same argument being made for the uniforms of, oh, if someone wears the wrong thing, then they're going to get shot. So we have to put them in school uniforms.
Or they can't intentionally wear gang colors, or
but
like bands with gang logos or whatever.
And so we'll force them to wear something that will get them shot instead, right?
Yeah. I know that it's it's the core thing. It's the core fascist contradiction. Your enemies are a massive danger who are going to take over, and you have to do anything to defend yourself against, but they're also dumb as rocks.
Yes.
But this was always my favorite. This was always my favorite scaremongery thing is gang members are so fundamentally stupid that they will see a color and go, "Oh my God, it's a rival gang. We should shoot them. So you just shouldn't wear clothes, but then possibly that's the nude gang."
Wait, that's why they put her in the cat suit so that she wouldn't be recognized anymore.
Yeah, and then they saw her wearing blue and that's the whatever, Blue Bloods. That's the Ocean Gang over there. That's the baseball kings. Whatever those guys called in the Warriors.
The Warriors and all of the
baseball furies. There we go. The baseball furies who wear clown makeup and hit you with baseball bats.
Now I'm also remembering the Kangs from a Doctor of Who adventure called Paradise Towers. All the middle-aged people went off to fight a war, as well as most of the young men, and so what you have left is the elderly, the custodians, the young girls that don't have anyone paying attention to them, and so they form up into gangs called Kangs. And of course the murder bots.
Oh yeah, of course. They're always the murder bots.
That's Doctor Who.
Yeah. Well, let's see. That one was also in 87. So right in the middle,
Yep.
Same gang time, same gang channel.
Though in that case, the Kangs are recruited to fight the evil power of the Architect, who's going to try to murder everyone now.
Okay.
So maybe Doctor Who's theme is, gangs exist and they have weird stuff going on, but maybe we can all join forces to fight the man.
Doctor Who is such a weirdly low budget, nobody cared about this show that they can't even get their propaganda straight.
Yep. Which might be one of the reasons it's kind of fun sometimes. It's like, I have no idea what this is supposed to represent other than just this trope. And what you're doing with it is so outside the expected trope that it's just sort of like, okay.
Yeah, this stopped making sense an hour ago. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, sure, there's things that are just kind of baffling about New Who, especially more recently. But, Doctor Who has kind of never made sense in the first place. So I still love it, though.
My final little one, which I thought was just weird when I was growing up. I went to a middle school that I didn't get along with very well for like 1 year, and then I transferred out to a different school. And after I left, some people, my parents still knew some of the parents from who had kids at that middle school, and they went, "Oh, it's so glad that your kid left when he did, because a gang moved in from one of the lowest grades this year." And I'm pretty sure what they mean is like a random group of asshole friends. Not like, a freaking organized gang of people with guns, but like, a gang moved into the school in the middle of fucking suburban Chandler.
Yep.
There were no gangs. This is where everyone who worked at Intel lived. There were not gangs.
It's like we are busy being kind of boring. We don't have enough like flair to like think about how to organize something like this.
There was a time when I was a kid where every single person, like you'd go to everybody's house, like any friend you had from school in the neighborhood, you'd go to anybody's house and every single person's dad had gotten into brewing their own beer. So everybody had a room that smelled bad because that's where the beer things were. This is where the gang violence of the city was flowing into. Was this random frickin' suburb neighborhood in fucking South Chandler.
The new center of the danger of the city.
Phoenix isn't even the kind of city that would have gangs. You can't go anywhere there.
It's too spread out.
There's no central. And they imported a city center now. Basically, they're trying to like reinvent New York in the middle of downtown Phoenix. But at the time, it was like 5 buildings. The tallest building there has 30 floors, and there's like one really old TV station.
So like a TV tower, then.
Yeah.
Not really a sparkling metropolis business going on. No,
it's where they do like local news. When I was a kid, they still had like, it was still like very near the end of when they still had like local programming, like a old kids show and some things. But mostly it was just a dying downtown that didn't have anything interesting in it.
It was the city of suburbs, really.
Yeah, the entire thing is suburbs. Anybody who's ever like been around Phoenix, it's like just suburbs. It's one tall bank building and then suburbs as far as the eye can see.
The bank is the axis upon which this wheel turns.
Yeah, basically.
And it's not a very, very big axis.
No,
actually.
It's not.
I suppose the most parallel thing for me growing up was, not necessarily being called a gang, but something about some group of the football players in the high school when I was in middle school would like haze people sometimes for some reason. And I'm not entirely sure what that was about other than, wow, someone got like tied to a tree and then they peed on them. That seems like something you could call the cops about.
Yeah, that's just assault.
Yeah, and then, they think it's, settled, hopefully,
But, when it's a bunch of white kids, it's just boys being dudes.
Yeah. And, well, it wasn't 100% white where I lived, but it was pretty dang close.
Yeah, I don't think I encountered very many people who weren't white in my schools until I got kicked out of 3 of them and was in the last chance schools.
And you're like, well, this is much more interesting.
I mean, it was. I definitely made a lot of more interesting friends there.
I didn't really encounter much diversity until college, unfortunately, but I did have some weirdo friends I got to hang out with, growing up still, so that was nice. That reminds me, I need to poke one of them. Anyway.
So yeah, that's gangs. I don't think there's a lot else, and we've run over a bit, but
yeah, well, we could always spend the next hour talking about how this is actually a parallel, version of the Israeli-Palestine conflict.
Oh God, not again! I've already watched too much about how Doctor Who fucked that one.
And, the Federation getting involved is like the U.S. getting involved. Totally, right?
Yeah.
And how maybe we shouldn't?
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't hold up as an analogy because I don't think
not as much. Yeah.
I don't think the coalition are that bad, honestly. Feels like an unfair comparison.
Yeah. Yes. This, coalition of folks on, this supposedly lawless planet who go around and, try to murder these other dudes here are not nearly as bad because they're not going around shooting everyone else along with.
Now, anyway, if Picard showed up and said he wanted to build a hotel on the other side of the city,
then it would be a little more of an analogous situation.
I think we're going to get some other stuff because that's been going on. That thing's also been going on since the 70s.
Yeah, well, earlier than that, really, but the latest incarnation, really got its start there. But yeah.
Yeah, gangs, etc. But I don't know. I could go on with dumb gang anecdotes for a long time because it's all the teachers love to talk about. But I think now it's probably time for the Galaxy's favorite game show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Galaxy's favorite game show. We got a lot of folks here, a bunch of them popping up between these two sides here, looking at each other and looking for a rumble. But, well, maybe it's up to us to decide by counting up the points and starting to hand out some prizes. So, the first one is the What Were You Thinking prize, which goes to whoever decided to make rape gangs a thing. An awful concept that doesn't really make any sense, that should have been abandoned in Season 1, along with the other, poorly thought out ideas that never marched forward. So, what does this, a person that conceived all this really, really deserve, Gepwin?
They win pillaging. They forgot that it's raping and pillaging. That's how you explain it, because that's just like history, and you can't argue with history.
Yes, and so you can actually make it sound more reasonable that way, as opposed to, there's some horny people trying to force themselves on people just as a thing that they do all the time.
Yeah, which we don't have time. That's also gang shit. It's also incredibly racist. It's tied into the way that we view masculinity in non-white people, and it's very linked to eugenics.
And it's these people being masculine is dangerous, as opposed to,
well,
us,
no, see, white men are the exact perfect level of masculine, and some people are not enough, and etc. Yeah, some people are too much, and some people aren't enough, and we are just right.
So you have to be in this central zone of acceptance, otherwise you're just the worst.
Yeah, basically.
All right, let's move on to something a little bit more upbeat than death. To die is logical, which goes to Tasha Yar for being totally okay with being blown up if it means hurting the enemy, instead of, asking the Federation for help in ending the really pointless conflict, or, making use of her now proximity detector self to sneak in later, maybe, to do the exact same thing. What does she win, Gepwin?
She wins more proximity detectors to just, fling randomly around and distract people. That would have been a better one. See, they didn't plan this at all. But, I don't know what to give for it, but, at this point, it's probably well, if I survived the rape gangs, I don't really want to live through more of this.
So you're saying that, this is her, I just kind of want out, and, yeah.
So she probably just needs, more therapy, but Troy doesn't trust her.
Yeah, so I guess that does kind of beg some questions. Can Troy do therapy for someone she doesn't trust? I'll have to think about that one.
It's just more complicated. There's a whole thing about that. There's ways to do that.
Our last prize today is the Laser Tag War, which goes to the Alliance and the Coalition both. It is very difficult for them to actually hurt each other. They get to fire laser guns all the time, and even got these tag-like devices involved. It's basically just laser tag with extra steps. So what do they win, Gepwin?
They win that computer that they had in the original series, because you could take care of this whole thing. They're already this far into agreeing not to kill each other, so just do the thing where the computer decides who wins and who gets the ale.
Yeah, and so they just will randomly have a trade-off zone where they push the box of ale for one side or the other, and, well, the computer will decide which side it should be on right now. Excellent. I think we've solved this conflict forever, Gepwin. So feel free to take us away.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us in this small gathering of similarly dressed people that doesn't mean anything. That we call the Galaxy's favorite game show!
Woo!
Next time, we get to reunite with something.
We got a loved character coming back. We got a not so loved character present. We got the introduction of someone who's highly important to the life of Worf, and then also Alexander. And, yeah.
And also the introduction of the best Klingon. The man of the bulgy eyes.
Yes. As I said, the person that's very important to the life of Worf going forward. Gowron.
Gowron is just he's the best. We're going to get into more Gowron, but like, oh my god, this man knows how to deliver a line.
Yes. The Robert O'Reilly is an excellent actor. Yeah, most of what I've seen him in is him playing Gowron, but when sometimes I spot him in playing in something else, it's like, yeah, this guy's pretty dang good here. He should be in more things.
I feel like not enough people take the opportunity when they get to play the Klingons to ham it up as much as they should.
Mm-hmm. But he knows the assignment.
He does, yeah. He's just whisper growls every line. The Doras.
Glorious that we have finally met in battle over this conference table.
Yeah, we're just going to have fun making fun of Gowron forever now. Yeah, Reunion is more Klingon space drama. Because remember, every time anything's going on in the Federation, you just have to keep in mind that the Klingons are over there doing Dune.
Yep. So we get to experience some of that because it spills over. Because, the old dude that Kempek we ran into previously when Worf got discombobulated and all that, he's dying and he's kind of miffed about it.
Yeah, so now we have to go take care of that because, you involved yourself, Picard. This is your fault.
Yeah. That whole Prime Directive thing, don't get involved. Well, you kind of went and got yourself involved. So I guess we got to move forward here.
Yeah. No. Oh, well.
Yeah. But yeah, we also meet Alexander, and he's now going to be on the ship.
Yep, for a while, until they forget again. They just keep on forgetting. They keep putting kids and teenagers on these ships, and then they keep forgetting they're there because they don't know what to do with the kids and teenagers.
It's sort of like, I think it was Lieutenant Carey on Voyager. Like, wait, is he still on the ship? I thought he died. When did he die?
No one knows.
Who knows? We should probably kill him off. Sure. Did we already do that, though?
Did we kill? I don't know. Maybe. There's been a lot of explosions.
It wouldn't make sense he's just avoiding B'Elanna.
So, yeah, that's next time we continue our run of family stuff.
Next time on Watchers of Tomorrow, Small Child versus Worf versus Duras. Fight! You have been listening to Watchers of Tomorrow, a podcast on science fiction media. Find and listen to Watchers of Tomorrow on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Digital Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Google Play, and many more places where podcasts can be found. If you enjoyed our podcast, make sure to subscribe for more. And make sure to rate your experience or leave us a review. You may find Gepwin on YouTube as Gepwin and on Pillow Fort. You may find Dr. Isix, on YouTube and Blue Sky. Music is Waveform and Mori's Principle, both by DRKRN, and Quirky Dog by Kevin MacLeod. Check out the Watchers of Tomorrow Discord channel. You may also find Watchers of Tomorrow on Tumblr. Make sure to share the experience of Watchers of Tomorrow with your friends, loved ones, enemies, alien overlords, and your doppelganger from the mirror dimension. Have a good day, and ahead, warp factor heckin' fast.